Good morning to you. I am at home and making this YouTube video. I used to make them like every 2 weeks at the college, but then we switched from Windows 7 to 10 and it's more complicated to do this task. So I uploaded some software onto my laptop and I figured, well, I'd give this a shot today. So today is the 11th, 11/11, and you have until 11/13 to submit your written instructions. Something that I would tell you to do is if you can take your own images, that's much, much better because like I am in my kitchen now and if you were at home and you were showing how to make like pumpkin pie or nut rolls or something like that. Actually, somebody in our class made these little nut rolls, which was a good idea. But anyhow, it does help if you have somebody taking shots or taking images of you doing it. Even I've had students that do something sporting related, and I had a female student who was a pitcher in her softball team and also pitched for the college team. And there's a real art to pitching. It's not just your arm, but it's also your lower body and hips that you really get that full stride and, you hit it, you really follow through really, really well. So anyhow, the written instructions will be due by the end of the day on the 13th. I have some in my mailbox that I have to look at yet today. And I also wanted to tell you for next week, you have a discussion board posting to do. And the first posting, that would be for discussion board 6. You would have to do 2 paragraphs for that one. And then you need to respond by someone by the 17th to, do the second posting. When you do those factual discussion board postings, though, whatever you do, don't start off with I think, I feel, I believe, my opinion. That's not the way to do it. You want to review the key facts or the key details, and then you can say therefore, thus, accordingly, and so on. That's called inductive reasoning, and that is a better way to go. So anyhow, I wanted to mention that to you. So we have to do discussion board 6. Now, we have 2 letters for this class, okay? And I will tell you about those a little bit. The first one that we have to do is explaining to a student who has never taken an online course, how you do it, how you navigate through the course, and so on. And the one point that I want to tell you, don't say I hate these online courses, they're not for me. This is not a good way to learn. The point that I would say is that they are an option or an alternative, and there are definite advantages to them. I had a student in a night class. It was a Tuesday night class, and he had to miss 4 weeks in a row. He worked for a commercial heating, ventilation, and air conditioning company, and he had to travel to Ohio 4 weeks in a row until he had to withdraw. So with these online courses, like if you get sick or if you have to go somewhere for business or whatever, you can still continue to do them. I had these 2 students from Penn State who were meteorology majors, and my goodness, they studied as part of their internship. They have like AccuWeather up there at State College because, of course, they have a big meteorology program. They went out to the University of Oklahoma in Norman, Oklahoma, and there's another big weather center right there because so many of the people from the Weather Channel or these meteorologists locally, they either went to Penn State or University of Oklahoma. So they studied there, or they did some of their work there. They did like hurricanes, tornadoes, or whatever, but they were out in the Midwest. And so they did storm chasing, which was interesting. They went to the Weather Channel down in Atlanta, and they went to a few other places. And so if they were, in a regular class, they would not be able to keep up. But with an online class, it works out, pretty well overall. So that's the first letter that you have to do for our class. The second letter that you have to do, you have 2 options. The first option is kind of a good one. It's a problem or dangerous intersection, road, or whatnot. And there are many of those here in southwestern Pennsylvania and in other parts of our state or wherever you are. And then the other option is related to a full-time instructional technologist for WCCC. We have that now, but it's not, I don't know if it's a long-term kind of situation. So, but that's your other option, so which I'll talk more about on another day. And then what we have after that is obviously you can submit the consumer report up to the 8th of December. If you submit it earlier, you will get extra points, and then there is a discussion board posting related to that consumer report, discussion board 7, on what you learned and so on. My dad, when he was alive, he always used to have a statement which I agree with. He would say, measure twice, cut once. And, you don't want to screw up the cut that you're making. And the same thing, too, when you buy a product, you have to choose wisely. And I mentioned the story, but I'll say it again because I think it's a good example. The dentist that I used to go to, the hygienist, one winter's day, she was telling me this. She said that she bought an SUV, and the sales rep said, oh, yeah. He said, you don't need four-wheel drive. This thing will go great. And here it was rear-wheel drive, which is about the worst of the worst. Front-wheel drive is actually better. So 3 days later, it snowed, and she had to go to her parents' home to pick up her child. She couldn't even make it up the driveway, and it wasn't really a steep hill or anything. So she goes back to the dealership, and she said, you know what, this isn't going to work for me. I need a all-wheel drive one. Well, they said, yeah, it'll be $3,000 difference. So they were going to charge her $3,000 more, and she said, I'm not going to do that. So she ended up going to a Ford dealer, and she bought an all-wheel drive Ford Escape. And that worked out really well for her, but she had to pay an additional year and a half on it. So it ended up being, rather costly. So sometimes, like I said, if you really think through what it is that you need and what it is you are going to buy, it's to your advantage to spend a little bit more time, energy, and effort, on the front end. And something that I will tell you is I've started to buy better lawnmowers and even better lawn equipment. And like for my mother, she has about an acre, and there's like a lot of areas that you have to trim at her house, and then plus her neighbor has like fencing and so on, so I have to use that. And this Husqvarna, I think it's called the 323. It's a 4-stroke trimmer. It's like more what they call prosumer. So it's not necessarily a professional one. It's not necessarily a consumer one. It's kind of in the middle. But oh my God, does it ever work really, really well? And it does the job. So like I said, I think I've had it about 10 years, and it works marvelously. So sometimes when you do research and buy something, it works better. One thing that I would tell you too, from a perspective of someone who likes to ride a bicycle, I have 3 different bicycles, but my favorite one is called the Globe, and I don't remember what the model is, but it is a hybrid bicycle that is made more for a heavier rider. So I used to be a heavyweight wrestler in college, so I'm not a thin, sleek person. So anyhow, this bicycle, it has a longer top tube, and so it's very comfortable to sit on. The seat has like a spring post, and so if you hit something, it takes the shock. And then the other advantage of it is it has a fork in the front that also has, that when you hit an obstacle, it has like these, it goes up and down. And then the rims, they're called double wall rims, and so they're heavier duty. So as a heavier person, if you hit, a curb or something, they're not going to blow out on you. And it's just a bicycle that is just so comfortable. I've ridden 30 or more miles on it in a day, and it doesn't wear you out. So it's a nice advantage. So anyhow, we have that to do. And then, like I said, when you do discussion board 7 with the consumer report, you can review what you learned and so on. The only other item that I wanted to tell you is in the assignment section and resume. I updated the most recent information on College Central, and it tells you how to log in and so on. And for the portfolio, all you really need to do is upload at least 3 documents, and then you can forward it on to me. And then with the resume, you can upload that, but it has to be approved by Career Services. So you actually have until December the 8th. So if you upload it and they say, well, you need to make these 3 changes, whatever you can, and then you can get it approved. And the one thing about that I would tell you is, like, for example, I go to see a dermatologist, and I go twice a year to get looked at, and they specialize in looking at your skin. And I recently had to get 2 moles removed, and they can tell and they can see really clearly. So the reason why I mention that is, like, Career Services, they look at resumes all day, every day, and obviously, they can help you. So I think that's about it. I just wanted to kind of cover those particular points. Thanks.